I was groomed in this church that I was going to in Jackson, Mississippi, where the pastor ended up being me last month. And it's to spread awareness. It's some things that were going on in the church that I would have never picked up on. And I was manipulated. And it's to spread awareness basically to young, vulnerable women like me to help people not go through this same thing. So me and my best friend, were 19 at the time, and we came into this church. We were on fire for the Lord. We were both naive. We were very gullible. We were just coming out of some things. I was coming out of a relationship. And we came into this church. We found this church from her sister worked with somebody, and they recommended the church to her, and we ended up going to the church, and the people were so like loving towards us, and it was almost surreal. Like, no way, like this can't be real. And me and my best friend were like, this is the place, like this is the place we want to be. So the pastor comes out, he gives the scriptures, he gives the word. It's just not like any other pastor I've ever heard. He knows the word front to back. And so we gotta stay here. Like, we want to be like these people. Like, whatever it takes to be like these people, this is what we want to be like. We want to be like these people. And so we in the church, and not knowing, they were very strict on who could talk to us. Only one person could talk to us outside of church, like could get our number, and she ended up taking us out to eat. Mind you, we did not know this until some time after, and we got like in the church, that only this person could talk to us, because eventually they let everybody start talking to us once they knew we were in. Once we stayed faithful to the church, we started going every Sunday and Thursday, because the sermons would start to be about like what you had to do, basically. And mind you, we looked at these people as super godly people. So we was like, we want to be like them. We want to go to heaven, all of this. So then the pastor starts to preach about authority and loose women. So me and my best friend are fresh in, and we don't know like what that is. And he was basically like, you need a covering over your head. And I didn't have a covering, and my best friend had someone as her covering, but he was like, no, they have to be godly, and they have to be this. And if basically, like, if the person wasn't in the church, they can be they covering, and the person basically had to be the pastor. So the pastor became our covering, because we was like, okay. And mind you, everybody in the church calls him dad. Everybody calls him daddy. So now the women in the church, this pastor were very close to the women. Now, us being the young women, we have to be taught how to be submissive daughters. A lot of the scriptures, a lot of the sermons now are focused on submission. How do you submit to your authority? So we're learning, like, we can't do nothing no more. Like, our lives are so different. So now we're having to ask, can we crank up our car and go to the store right up the street? Can we crank up our car to go get food? Can we buy something off the internet? Can we start a business? Can we get a job? Can we, like, everything? We cannot make no decision for ourselves. Like, we cannot do nothing at all. Mind you, this is new for me, because I'm not used to like having somebody dictating everything I do. Like, if I'm hungry, I just go get me some food. So like, I would get talks a lot, and I would have to confess, like, I went and got food without asking, I'm sorry, and I would be crying, and I would feel like I'm going to hell, because the sermons were so strict on submission, and basically it was just so much, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So it was a lot. So Then we started to lose our family, and me and my best friend were so depressed, and we were crying on the phone with them, and they were like, that's normal and all of this, because we started to lose our family. And they in the church was like, raise your hand if you lost your family, and everybody raised their hand, and we're like, okay, this is normal, this is supposed to happen. And so we're crying. So this is when things start to get weird. He started to invite himself places with me, and he would be like, okay, just come get me, because I had to X everywhere I wanted to go. So I would be like, can I go get so and so something for her birthday? And he was like, yeah, just come get me too, or whatever. And he would just start getting with me alone now, and I'm thinking of it as like daddy-daughter time. Like, I never had time to spend with my dad. Like, I always wanted like a dad, and they knew that in their church. And the crazy thing is, if you had anything going on womanly, you had to talk to this man. The women, you can't talk to the women in church. The women gonna point you to him. They gonna always point you to him. If you're struggling with something womanly, they gonna point you to him. You're gonna have to talk to him about it. Like, that's just how it is in the church. It's crazy. And a lot of this stuff he started to do to me, like, he wanted to keep a secret, and he would make it like it's because my wife wouldn't understand, my best friend wouldn't understand, these people wouldn't understand, nobody would understand this because he's doing the work of the Lord. So he would always put spiritual on it, and he would be like, you can't say this because my wife will start thinking stuff like this, and in her mind she won't understand it. But any other preacher, they some will be hard, but me, I'm so disciplined, and woo. And I'm like, okay, so I can't even talk to nobody about this, not even the women in the church, but they was gonna point me to him anyway. So this girl in the church, which is super close to him, would basically tell me how to be with him. She told me basically, I remember one day I was like, I was sleepy or I was something when dad called, and she was like, you don't talk to him in this tone. If I'm asleep, I have to change my voice when I answer the phone for him, because you don't talk to him like this. She trained us how to act in front of him. So this is when something weird happened. So I had to try on this dress. Mind you, multiple weird things happen, but it's so much weird stuff. I'm gonna have to, I don't know how I'm gonna tell y'all. It's gonna have to be a part 2. So she bought these dresses for me to try on, and she was like, I knew she had to ask him before she gave them to me. But then she was like, I'm gonna let him see if these appropriate for you to wear, even though she done wore the dresses before. But I'm not thinking nothing of this. I'm so green at the time, y'all. So I go in the bathroom, and he comes, she right there, and I trust her. Mind you, I trust this girl. So this is how he checks me. I have to go turn around, bend over, touch my toe in front of, and I'm so uncomfortable, but it's like, okay, she right here, maybe this normal, right? So then he steady does this. This is now how he checks my clothes. Like, I remember thinking about his dress, and he called me on the messenger app, and I'm having to bend over in the camera and stuff, because this is how he checks my clothes for modesty and to make sure I'm modest. And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't understand, but okay. But me, I'm still like, that's my dad. Like, he's disciplined. He makes it like he's this well-disciplined man and all of this. So maybe it's not nothing. So then, y'all, one day we in the car, and he asks to see my phone. He goes through my phone, and he is looking at old naked pictures of me. And he's just looking, and I'm so uncomfortable, because we're in the car together, because I used to have to drive him from places because his eyes and stuff. So he's looking at naked stuff of me, and I'm like trying to snatch my phone and stuff. He like, no, like, you don't do that. You don't tell authority no. That's basically like, you don't do that to your authority. So I'm just so uncomfortable, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I remember driving, and I'm just like so uncomfortable, because why? Like, no. And he's like, I'm figuring out what's wrong with you. He would always put spiritual stuff on this stuff that he was doing. Now, I remember this kept happening. He was desensitizing me for what he was going to do. So y'all have to stay tuned for part 2, because it's way more stuff he did, and he kept desensitizing me. And every time I would ask, he wanted stuff to be secretive. But he would say it was because he's the man of God and his wife